is thank you, Lord. What shall I say unto my Father? It's all I have to say is thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. See, all I have to say is thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. All I have to say is thank you for the breath in my lungs. I thank you for the strength in my body. I thank you. You're a wonderful Father to me. From the depths of my heart, all I have to say. If it wasn't you that's on my side, this life will finish me. Oh. I see the wonders of your hand. It's only you that's keeping me. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh yeah, plenty, plenty, plenty. Plenty, plenty blessing for me. Many, many, many. Many reasons to say I'm grateful. And I love you. And I don't take it for granted. So I just want to say that I love you. I really love you, Lord. Say that I need you. I really need you, God. Oh yeah, plenty, plenty, plenty. Plenty, plenty blessing for me. Many, many, many. Many reasons to say I'm grateful. And I love you. And I don't take it for granted. So I just want to say that I love you. I really love you, Lord. Say that I need you. I really need you, God. Day by day, I will follow your ways. I'll do what you say. I no sell anybody. If they turn away me, I don't follow your ways. Don't care what people say. I no sell anybody. This love I found is so beautiful, and every day is sweeter than the day before. They can't.
Hi, welcome everyone. Good afternoon and happy Sunday. Hello, welcome to today's mental health training on uncovering your true self and a journey of personal identity. Hi, my name is Ogunka Favor and I'll be your host for today. How are you all doing? Please let me know in the comment section how everyone is faring. If your day went well, if you enjoyed church, if you didn't go to church, if you slept in and you feel well rested, please let me know that. So, hi once again, and welcome to today's mental health training. So far, this is something that we do every second Sunday of every month. And if you've been here before, I hope it has been an amazing one for you. So, welcome to today's mental health training session on uncovering your true self. a journey of personal identity. Once again, I'll be your host for today, and my name is Ogunka Favor. So very quickly, let's do a bit of introduction. I have introduced myself and I'm joining in from Ogun State. So if you can, please let me know in the comment section where you're joining us from. If possible, you can also tell us your expectations for this meeting because I want to believe that while you saw the flyer, you had some things that you were expecting to come and learn, some questions if possible, and things like that. And I promise that our speaker does have a lot in store for you today. So please let us know all of this. Now, tell us your name and where you're joining us from. Hi, Nana Ama. Okay, nice to meet you. I know that you're doing very well and welcome to today's session. So, welcome everyone once again. I can't see people telling me their names and where they're joining us from. Please don't be shy. Hello, Nana from Accra. Hi, Faye Shire from Ogun State. We're in the same location, by the way, Shagamu. Hello, welcome. Welcome to today's mental health training session. Yeah, so out of all the things that you were expecting to do, I'm pretty sure that you came here with the mindset of learning from our speaker. So in this short introduction that I'm doing, I hope that we remember to bring a notepad and I hope we remember to bring our pens as well as a bit of a snack, maybe something like biscuits that you want to chew, maybe while you're listening to the speaker, tell us everything on this particular topic. But without further ado, we would move on to the program. So we have today here with us this particular topic. Now, before we start, we'd say an opening prayer. So I'd like us all to reverence God as we pray. So, Father, we thank you for today. Thank you, Lord, for a time like this to be able to gather once again on a Sunday. Thank you for Assad. Thank you, Lord, for the mental health training department. Thank you for all that we do here and these topics that we teach people. Father, we pray that as we listen and learn from our speaker, that all that he has in store for us will be able to apply in our daily lives. In Jesus' name, we have prayed. Amen. So welcome once again. Hi, Dara from Port Harcourt. Hello, Oindamola from Lagos State. Welcome. So as stated already, don't forget to get your water bottle and your pens so that you'll be able to write your notepads as well. Now, let's do a bit of icebreaker. I know today is Sunday and we're probably coming back from church. Most people are probably tired. Some of you are probably still busy preparing lunch for your families and things like that. Now, to be able to relax as best as possible, we do a bit of a breathing exercise in our organization. Now, this is supposed to help people relax and ease of tension or anything that they're feeling like that. So we're just going to do it. How it's done, we'll do this for 5 seconds, over the span of 5 seconds. So I would give instructions for you to breathe in for 5 seconds and give instructions for you to hold that breath for another 5 seconds and give another instruction for you to breathe out. So I want you to be able to engage in this exercise. It may seem like something silly at first because trust me, when we used to do it, I used to find it silly and I didn't like it. But I do now because it helps relax. It helps to relax the muscles. It helps to ease of tension and things like that. So for you to be able to forget every negative energy that's probably bothering you, maybe for instance, somebody stepped on you in church, you never know. So something like that, you'd be able to get rid of it with this breathing exercise. So if you're excited for it, please let me know. I want to see some excitement in the comment section. There's also a feature on Zoom you can use to react. So please let me know if you're ready for this breathing exercise. I don't see excitement. All right, wonderful. Thank you very much. So on the count of 1, 2, 3, I would say breathe in and you breathe in for 5 seconds. Please don't rush through it. Take your time and do the exercise. So let's close our eyes. Everyone close your eyes and then think of all that happened maybe during today and during the week and things like that. So breathe in for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now hold that breath for another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now breathe out slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do it one more time and then we'll move on to the next agenda. So once again, breathe in for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And let's breathe out for another 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. I hope you all enjoyed that exercise. This is something you can also do on your own. It's not just limited to ASADS alone. You can also do it on your own, teach people as well, learn more about it, ways to relax, and things like that. So thank you very much for participating in that exercise. So right now, I would be giving a talk on ASADS. Now, you're here because you probably saw this flyer, maybe an ad, or a friend recommended this program to you, or something. So for you to be able to gain the most out of this program, I want you to be able to partake in this exercise. So listen to all I have to say today and listen to what ASADS does as well. So if we're ready, I would start. Now, ASADS is the Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, and it's not unknown knowledge that suicide and depression are very, very rampant issues in our country, especially. So every 40 seconds, we have someone taking their life, and every year we have 800,000 people who die by suicide for one reason or the other, mental health issues particularly. And in Nigeria, we are over 200 million, and we barely have enough mental health practitioners to be able to cater to the need of every single person. Now, that is why ASADS exists. ASADS is the Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, and it was founded in 2018 by Mr. Dare Asobele. So he founded this with the aim of creating and raising awareness about suicide and depression in Nigeria. So we have a goal to be able to reduce the rate of suicide and depression in Nigeria by 50% before the year 2030. And in order for us to do this, we organize programs such as this. So this one that you're here for now, to be able to learn about uncovering your true self, a journey of personal identity, we offer these programs to the rest of the public so that we are able to teach you these things, not just for yourself, but so that you'll be able to tell other people about these mental health issues and how they can go about it. So ASADS doesn't just do these mental health trainings. We also hold other events such as the annual mental health conference, the Mental Health Suite 6. It's happening this year, and it's an annual event where we gather all people concerned about mental health in one room and discuss certain issues. We also just concluded the mental health tour, the ASAD tour, and this is where we're able to take mental health to the communities, take mental health to churches, take mental health to schools and things like that. So many people are still ignorant because they don't have access to certain devices like you and I. So we're able to take this knowledge to them so that they are aware of mental health issues. We also have the listeners department in our organization. Now they are in charge of providing first aid to every single person. So anybody who is feeling some type of way, anybody who feels a bit depressed or sad, they are able to talk to these listeners and they will handle the issues as appropriate. Now, they are not therapists, but they offer this service for free because they are trained in that aspect. So, with all this said and done, I'd like to encourage every single one of us here right now to please listen to all that the speaker has for us today. You're here because you want to learn about this particular topic. So, just get ready and pay attention. Thank you very much. Now, I'll be calling on my colleague Idara to give us the speaker's introduction. So over to you, Idara.
Okay, thank you very much, Favor. Thank you very much. So my name is Idara. I'm a member of the Mental Health Training Department of ASAD, and I'll be introducing the speaker very well because you should be able to understand what you're getting into, and you should be able to expect a lot because our speaker is not just any person. He's very well certified with experience. So right now, our speaker is Mr. Imolayo Ashogbon. He is an astute consultative people-focused professional with over 12 years of progressive experience in implementing human resource strategies. He holds an MBA from the Rotman School of Management at the University of Toronto. Wow. A certificate of change management from the University of British Columbia, an executive MBA in strategic leadership from the Quanti School of Business and Technology, a certificate in people analytics from the Wharton School, a diploma in advanced human resources management from the London Academy Business School, and a BA in linguistics from the University of Ado-Ekiti. Wow, wow, wow. Mr. Imolaye's expertise encompasses several key areas of HR function. He is dedicated to giving back to the community. He volunteers for numerous organizations, including CPHR, HRLC Canada. Also, he's a certified emotional intelligence life coach. So with all this I'm saying, I'm not sure you should even be sitting down. I think you should be up, clapping. Show it in you can drop it in your chat box, drop it in the chat box, clap your hands with excitement, because our coach is going to really impact in us. He's really going to tell us a lot of things. I think we should have a high expectation. Keep your questions, because he is the expert and he will do that. So I'm going to welcome Mr. Imolaye Ashogbon. Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having and Idara, thank you for that very plentiful, mouthful introduction of me. Can you all see me and can you hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you guys for having me. It's an honor, pleasure, and privilege to be here today. And yes, I'm excited to be here as well. And it's early morning where I am, and being here to me is born out of a passion and a desire, to make my own little contribution to humanity. But more importantly and more excitedly is alignment to ASAD's goals and what you guys are doing. So thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. And to everyone here, it's going to be a conversation. What we are going to do today is just a conversation. I'm going to be sharing certain things with us. I'm going to be sharing some life experiences. I'm going to be sharing some narratives, but we're going to go on a journey together. And you see all of those things they've said about me, grateful to God. But you see, at the end of the day, that's not what defines you, right? What defines you is who you are on the inside. What defines you is your discovery of self. What defines you is you being able to journey this particular phase or this particular world as somebody going through a path and finding meaning in all of this. So yes, thank you so much. Glad to be here. So I'm going to try as much as possible to make this as interactive. So please, if you have any questions, sure, Dara, the coordinators, they have the capacity to take questions. I'm going to welcome more of questions, but I'm going to, take us through some particular path as we uncover our true self, as we journey through a path of self-discovery. All of us are still in that journey, right? So am I able to share my screen now?
Yes, you should be able to.
Okay. Right. Okay, so just give me a second. Yeah, let me just share my screen. Yeah. Okay. Okay. You can see my screen right now, right? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Are you seeing a full screen?
Yes, we can.
You're seeing a full screen, right?
Yes, a
Correct.
full screen.
All right. Okay. So, like I said, today I'm just gonna, I've been told that I have 1 hour to talk to you about uncovering your true self and a journey to personal identity. Now, I was listening to, I was listening to Dara talk, and I was listening to the mandates, or would I call it the mandates, what your organization is about. And it just occurred to me, that wow, that is really impressive. Knowing fully well that there's an organization in Nigeria, paying attention to something like this. There's an organization in Nigeria helping people navigate these scenarios and these situations around mental health. And I found out that, um, as she rightly said, Nigeria is 200 million people. And the research, the last time I checked, the research shows that about 20% of Nigerians are affected by one form of mental illness, right? 20% of Nigerians. Research also shows that there is at a higher level, right? About 7 million Nigerians, they have depressive disorders and going through different level of anxieties. And again, Nigeria has only, less actually in 2017, the research shows Nigeria has less than 500 practicing psychiatrists in Nigeria, less than 500, right? So the country, of course, you have psychiatric nurses, but you have very less people, less funding, less support. And somebody once said that in Nigeria, we know how to laugh over everything. You know that, right? When situations happen, sometimes we get agitated, we talk about it, and we forget, or we move on. And I find that at a level to be true. That's why we laugh about everything. There's a skit on everything. There's a song on everything. But we can't take away that these menace, you can't take away that there's still high level of depression in people. We can't take away, again, we can also take away the resilient spirits in Nigerians. And that's something I want to point out. We can't take away the fact that Nigerians are resilient. Like Nigerians are strong people. Nigerians are folks and individuals who, even the world knows that we are different. So today, I want to just quickly talk to us about uncovering your true self, a journey to personal discovery, a journey to personal identity. And you see, this particular topic is talking about something very exciting, which is it's a journey. How do you uncover your true self? How do you come to that place of wholesomeness? So in today's session, I'm just going to be looking at some of the importance of self-discovery. We're going to talk about self-awareness, where you start from. When you're talking about self-awareness, we're going to be looking at the influence of relationship on identity. We're going to be talking about challenging the status quo. We're going to be exploring some of the role of grit and resilience. I talked about that briefly now as to Nigeria, but we're going to deep dive into it. And our ability to rethink certain things like failure, talk about feedback growth, and of course, building authentic relationships. So please feel free to ask your questions or, come off the mic if something's on your mind. But my prayer and my desire is that the time we're going to spend together, something is going to drop on somebody's heart. There's going to be a liberation. The knowledge will take you from where you are to where you ought to be. It's going to be an instruction, a clarity. Right? And you would know that you are worth it. So Maria Rick says the only journey is the journey within. Now you might not be able to fully understand it until you understand what Aristotle said. He said, knowing yourself is the beginning of wisdom. Some of us are Christians here. Bible says that the love of God is the beginning of all wisdoms for Christians here. And really, I found out that your journey to God, through God, about this God, is a journey of self. Because if you look at that scriptures, or various scriptures, for those of us that are Christians, you will see that there's a continuous measure of according to the power that works within us. There's a continuous measure of how you see yourself, how you think about yourself, or even yourself. You're going through a transformation process as you build in the mirror. That mirror is a reflection of yourself. It could mean many things to many people. But the truth about it is, it's a journey to self. Because really, at the end of the day, the greatest discovery in life in itself, right? The greatest discovery in life itself is I mean, how do I put it? The greatest discovery in life is self-discovery. So until you find yourself, until you discover yourself, you will always be somebody else. Until you come to a point of knowing who you are, you always be somebody else. And hopefully in this conversation, I'm going to link it because you see, I mean, science and philosophy and all of those things over the years always link it to a higher power. And so people who discover themselves at a significant level, who discover who they are, discover whose they are. And while we're not in church and I've not come to preach church to us today, the journey of self-discovery cannot be complete until you come to that place of understanding and engaging with a higher power, because there is a higher power. But first and foremost, we are the most powerful elements in this particular journey. We are the most powerful being in this journey. And until you find yourself, you will always be somebody else. And we live in a generation, or this particular generation is the most confused generation. And respectfully, I'm not talking of Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, whatever that Gen is. This generation is the most confused, the most complex, because the level of self-comparison in this particular generation is phenomenal. The level of comparison, the level of competition, the level of, research has shown that at 2017, the research carried out, it showed that never in history have people committed suicide based on as much as they're committed based on jealousy or envy. Or never have people gone through depression just based on that. Because before, if your friend buys a car, you would not know until you meet them. Remember when we finished from secondary school or university, you say, oh, God be with you till we meet again. And that meet again can be 10 years, can be 15 years, can be 5 years, can be 20. Some people you never hear from them again. But technology has changed all of that. You can literally know a feeling from university or secondary school, and the next 2 weeks, you know where the person is. The next 1 year, you know they are married, or they just bought a car, or they just bought a belt. You know all of that. And see, the most interesting thing is right in your room, in your space, where you are, you can be going through all forms of emotions that have led many people to many dimensions or many places that they did not anticipate, because nobody's copying it, because not many people are empowered to attack, or not many people are empowered to go through all of those emotions and put them in perspective. So self-discovery is a journey you have to go through yourself to understand. So let's even understand what is self-discovery. So self-discovery here, as I put here, involves exploring one's personality, values, and beliefs. It's about understanding who you are at your core. It's about understanding who you are. Who are you at your core, beyond societal expectations or roles? You see, those two key giants or gamons is something we would explore, but today we're not going to explore it to the fullness. We're going to touch on it, but we're going to focus on you, because at the end of the day, society has expectations. You can't take away that away. Society, there are rules, and a whole lot of us define our life by those expectations and those rules. A whole lot of us. And that's why sometimes you are defined as a woman, or sometimes you are defined as a mother because of certain roles, and your definition or your value does not exceed that. And sometimes it's a male, and certain pressures comes to you because you're a male, you're a man. Or certain things comes to you because society expects you to be this way, and until you conform to this way, until you look like this, you don't have relevance, you don't have association, or you're not conforming. And the irony is that a lot of those perceptions or a lot of those things put on us are all skewed negatively. Because many people, there are more confused people in the world than we ever know. So self-discovery involves you exploring your personality, your values, and your beliefs. So what brings us that place of discovering yourself? Because we're a sum total of many things. So our personality, our values, and our beliefs, right? All of those things are part of what makes us us. So when you go on that journey and you take away expectations of society, you take away expectations of role, therein you find yourself. because your values and your personalities, right, and your beliefs is one of things are the core things that makes us as human beings. As you think in your heart, so you are. The real challenge is most times many of us think have big thought, have big information. Many of us are raised in areas and places where we are not complete. Even them are confused. And you see, you can't take away the fact that we are sum total of our experiences and our exposures. Those are part of things that forms and shapes us as human beings. We are sum total of that. There's a concept of nature and there's a concept of nurture. My daughter at 3 years old does some things when she was 3, and I was wondering, I know as in my knowing that nobody taught this girl this thing, nobody. But she's exhibiting this behavior because it's part of her nature. We have a nature. There is a nature of man. But there is also a significant component called nurture. And at a season and at a level in our life, nobody is influencing, people are influencing that. The challenge is that most times the influence is all here and there. But we get to a point and we will get there. So those are the components of self-discovery. So what is the benefit of discovering yourself? Why do you need to discover yourself? Number one, it improves your decision-making process. Because when you know yourself, when you understand your values and your desires, it leads you to better choices in all aspects of your life. It leads you to better choices in your career, in your relationship, in your personal growth, because you know yourself. Because you know yourself, you can make better decisions. Before I started my career, I knew the things I used to do in university. Something in my heart is saying, this is not exactly what I want to do for life. What do I do? And I started making inquiries. I can't forget I spoke to certain people. And God bless those people because they helped me unpack certain things and said, well, this area might be an area that will be good for you because of this. But I still went through that process. And at the end of the day, I ended up in HR. I didn't start my career in HR. I started as a business analyst. I can't forget a few months, but I kept telling my bosses there and my people that I want to do HR. I want to do HR. In less than 6 months, they gave me opportunity to do HR. That's what I've been doing all my life. Why? Because I kind of knew, as young as I kind of knew my passion. I knew I was people-centric. I knew I wanted to help. I knew I wanted to build systems and structures. So self-discovery helps you improve your decision-making. And you can impact the choices you make, even from career to relationship and personal goals. From even my relationship, I knew certain things I wanted from a relationship. And you know while that journey itself is not all about you, but when you've discovered yourself, you have an idea. And then you follow that path. Then self-discovery increases your resilience because life will happen. When you know your strengths and you know your weaknesses, it will help you navigate more effectively because every man, every woman has a weakness. We have weaknesses, right? There's no Superman anywhere. There's no perfect anybody anywhere. No matter what you say on social media, people edit on social media. Nobody puts the dirty linen on social media. So nobody has it perfect. Everybody's struggling with one thing or the other. It's just that people struggle at different levels. And that's why it's important you journey in that part of self-discovery. Then it enhances your relationship. Self-awareness improves empathy and communication, right? It fosters deeper connection. Have you ever seen confused people? Have you ever been in a relationship with people who today they are hot, they are cold tomorrow, but they don't have a sense of bearing? Anything goes because they've not discovered themselves. So self-discovery is critical for us. Now, I want to quickly explore some dimensions as we go deeper in this conversation. Earlier on, I talked about the influence, certain influences, things that influence our lives, right? There are 4 critical things that influence our life, but I'm going to start first and foremost I want to talk about the influence of relationship on our identity. Relationships are like mirrors or molders of identity, right? The relationships we had or we have, they are part of the things as molders. I know there's some guys here while growing up or amongst your friends, certain relationships you have has boosted you. It's made you feel strong. As a lady, it's make you feel you've had some very healthy relations that make you feel beautiful, make you feel accepted. And while some people have had relationships that certain stains in that relationship are stained your soul. And it's one of the ways in which you mirror yourself, you see yourself. So there's an interplay between connection and individuality, the connections we make, the connections we make. And the core dimension, there are three elements. Number one is family and early attachment. Check your life. Check your life. You will see that the way you see yourself, the way you grow up, the way you engage on things has a lot to do with the family you have. The same thing with me. How did my dad relate with me? How did my mom communicate with me? What are the things they said about me? How did they relate with each other? Because they are part of the things that forms the nurturing. They are the things I see. They are the things I saw. They are the things my younger ones saw. So at the third dimension, we have family and early attachments. They are part of the things that influences our identity. If you were lucky to grow up from a family where your dad always told you that you are beautiful, God in heaven, nobody can tell you that you are ugly, no matter what in your lifetime. If you grow up in a family where your self-esteem is built, and you see, some of us didn't have this opportunity, but thank God you are here, because in building your own family, you will do better. That's why you have to go through those journey of self-discovery. So the family and early attachment is a major core. The second one is friendship and social circles. Friendship and social. Let me share you a story. I can't forget this story. This happened right after I was going to leave. Right after I finished secondary school, I was about to write my GC to do my GC so I can enter into university. We're a group of 4 friends. I can't forget these guys. 4 friends. We had 2 ladies, and we had myself. We had 5 friends. We had 2 ladies who were sisters, and we had myself and 2 other guys, Chooks and me. I remember them very well. And I remember that, everybody gets along very well, but I know that one of those girls liked Chooks. And interestingly, I liked that girl too, as young as I was. I think I was 16, 17. Right? And one day, those days, there was no, people know, it was emails, it was letters. Yahoo just coming, but it was letters we wrote. And on this fateful day, I can never forget. I was right in the lobby, and I had my long A4 papers, A4, just long, those higher education. And I was traveling a letter to write to the lady. It was what do we call it? It was a platonic letter. But of course, I was writing that letter. When I was writing it, Chooks walked in there. And Chooks said to me, he saw the jittery, he saw everything, and he said to me, at this time, amongst all my friends, I think in my life, all my friends, I'm always the shortest amongst them. I choose a tall guy, he is a tall guy. And so Chooks saw the jittery and he was just smiling. And he wrote something on my higher education. He said, it is not in the height, but in the heart. My brothers and sisters, that statement he told me shaped my life. That statement, I didn't even write that letter again. I could not, till date, over 20-something years after that, I remember that experience. And through my university days, all my friends were tall friends. Through my university days, I did things that if I walked by how I saw my height, or if I had complex about my height, I would never do. I led, I influenced, I did things because that thing my friend said to me liberated me. He said to me, it's not in the height or in the heart. Gosh, God bless him. Friends and societal circles. So those friends I worked with at that time helped me. And I know that a lot of us had worked with certain friends that harmed us. They've said certain things and we could not move, or we could not see ourselves beyond that. If she said to me, as young as I was, and the way I loved him and loved all my friends, they said to me, a short guy, a short devil, nobody would like you, you never, I don't know how you have impacted me. And some of us are dealing with certain things friends have said, or certain social cycles, certain decisions, but dealing with some level of rejection. And it's part of the things that has dropped. But the greatest thing a lot of us are dealing with is self-rejection. That's why some of us need to journey on this path. And you see, some of these things do not heal with time. Some of these things, let me say it again. Some of these things does not heal with time. They don't heal on their own. They are patched down in some hearts and souls. And until you go through this journey yourself, this is part of what will be forming who you become. And the third part is romantic relationships. Romantic relationships are powerful. And there's some of us have been messed up by certain terrible people who came into our life, or certain mistakes we made. And it sees us. If nobody sees me as this, or this is how everybody sees me, this is how I will be. This is how you see me. You see me as a thief, or you see me as a, excuse me, a French, you sees me as a prostitute, or you see me as a cheap girl. That rings in some people's head. You see me as a lover boy, a playboy. Yes, I will be a playboy. Why? Because romantic relationships, especially at the early ages, has a way of forming us, has a way of shaping us. At the core dimension, those are kind of things that form our identity. So some of us need to journey back and look at some of the conceptions and the beliefs that we have, and we'll find that they are rooted to these three core dimensions of relationship. Now, there's a big challenge in walking through this path. And I have a lot of respect and appreciation for all of you listening to me. I'm sure you know that I'm speaking from the depth of my heart. I love you. This is not personal, yet this is personal. And the idea of this is hopefully by this journey, this time together, certain things can be unpacked, and certain things can be put in perspective, and you become more wholesome, because nobody just wakes up one day and hits depression. Nobody just wakes up one day and take off their life. Nobody really just goes out to be hurting people. Something started somewhere. Something started somewhere. And it's not always far from these three core dimensions of relationships in our life. Now, the biggest challenge is self-discovery. There are a lot of challenges in that. The biggest challenge is, number one, is confronting uncomfortable truths. I know that I've said certain things now, that I've touched some things in some people's heart, and some of you are uncomfortable with it. They're comfortable about it. Who's this man selling this? And some of you are uncomfortable about it, or some of you are saying, oh God, this guy is saying, and different people take it different ways. But you see, I'm not here today as your friend, respectfully so. I'm here to deliver a message that would help you transition, open your eyes to certain realities. And some of this message is for somebody here very clearly. And for some of you, it's not just for yours, for you. It's so that you will not pass this thing to your generation, or so that you can know how to cut it off and deal with it. Because these are facts of life that keep influencing people. I'm an HR professional. I talk to people almost every day about job search strategies and all of that. One of the biggest things I get to deal with, even with people that pay me, is issues about self-identity and confidence. Because many people feel they are not enough, they're not good enough. And so there are a lot of challenges in self-discovery, several common challenges. Confronting these uncomfortable truths is a major one. Many of us don't want to. Many of us don't want to also accept personal flaws, or acknowledge past mistakes, or realize our limitations. If you are here and you're listening to me, you must understand that man raised to power 1 million remains man. Meaning that the best of us has all these components. These are many people, or some people, know how to navigate it in reality. Many of us. Another key challenge is that most times we don't want to maintain objective assessment of ourselves. Have you heard people saying that, oh, this is me, oh, you have to accept me as you are, and all of that? Oh, yes, this is you. Nobody has a problem with that. But immediately a second element, variable, has been introduced to the system, to your system or to your world. And you're part of that system. You must understand that the concept of this is me would never work. You can't say this is me, and don't go and steal people's things. You are going to jail. You can't say this is me, and you say you want to have a very healthy relationship, and you're not ready to understand these dynamics and make adjustments. Then you are deceiving yourself. If you're alone and your variables is all alone, there's no engagement, there's no interrelationship, yes, that can work. So a lot of us don't want to maintain this objective assessment, understanding that like I said, man raised to power 1 billion remains man. What does that mean? We have our biases and we have our blind spot. Nobody knows it all. Nobody has it all fixed. And most of us, we need to understand that. Another major one is fear of change. Change is not an easy thing. At the organizational level, at a personal level, change is not an easy thing. But change is the only constant thing and must happen. Either you like it or yes, change is inevitable. But there's a forced change And there's a change that you come to a realization that I need to change this thing. I need to work on this thing. And what I've learned as a human being is that nobody can change anybody. We must come to that point of changing ourselves. It's just that the more we engage and relate with people, the more some of those things become obvious. And who we are listening to, what we are feeding ourselves, all of that, they play a significant role in determining the dimensions of our change. So a lot of us fear change. We don't want to step out of our comfort zone. We don't want to face the fear of the unknown. But you see, some of these fears are there. Every day, wake us up in our subconscious. They are there. But we don't want to face it. We run from it. It's the human nature. But your journey to self-discovery, these are critical things you have to face. And the new concept of vulnerability. See, most times we don't want to be vulnerable because we fear judgment. And I don't blame anybody for that. Because if you are vulnerable to the wrong people, that's a problem itself. And because some people sometimes we are still trying to figure things out. But in being vulnerable, we don't want to expose our insecurities. And that's why when you go through that part of self-discovery, you know that you don't make friends, you choose your friends. You know that there's certain circle, I'm going to talk about support system, there's certain people around you that objectively you're able to measure and determine this relationship is important for me. And you go in that direction, doing fully well, that you can strive to be yourself, yet in the path of growth. There's nothing like, this is me, you have to accept me as the way you are. Oh God. People who say that eventually end up being alone because we are confused. A lot of, except at the face value where you can be taken like that. A beautiful girl can say you have to accept me the way you are because what she's thinking of certain elements she has. It's other elements she has, and she knows that she has attention of many males. And for her, as her self-identity is built around those elements, and every other thing does not matter. Meanwhile, beauty fades, character upholds, and sustains. Meanwhile, she's forgotten that some of those things will sag, and they will no longer be what it used to be. But what she has upholded and built is what will stand. And she realizes later, he feels that all he thinks he needs to have is money, and he has it. Meanwhile, there are a lot of rich people who are very confused. Like Kuleshwari would say, they are so poor, all they have is money. And that's why suicide is even higher amongst rich people. Separation is higher amongst rich people. I used to think, I've thought it before, and I couldn't understand it, that why would a beautiful woman be jilted by a man? Why would Miss World be heartbroken? Somebody said in social media, why will Beyonce be cheated on? Because at the end of the day, the heart of us human beings there are dimensions you can't fully understand. So as you're journeying in your self-discovery, part of the things some of the challenges that many of us, we can't balance self-compassion and self-criticism. We can't balance it. So we avoid criticism because we want to maintain self-compassion. Self-compassion is important. But see, until you get a certain level and height, everything everybody says, any feedback or criticism is seen as an attack. It's seen as an attack, but that's not always the case. That's not always the case. So the truth about it is, these are challenges that if you're serious for business, you have to deal with. You have to deal with. I'm seeing different things in the chat, but I can continue, right? Let me see if... Okay, yeah, thank you. So these are things that you must keep close, you must understand. Self-discovery is critical. Why? Because self-discovery, helps. Actually, we've heard this statement, or we've heard people talk about emotional intelligence, talked about all of those. Emotional intelligence is more important than IQ, and that's the truth, because there's a quadrant, and the quadrant is that self-discovery helps us. So it starts with self-actualization, self-discovery, self-development, self-actualization, and self-mastery. It's about self. But nothing happens except we decide to make something happen, except we see it as an integral part. And all of these elements has ties to our soul, our mind, our body, and our hearts. It is who we are. You imagine how what somebody said, how it impacted you, how it affected you so much. And imagine those times that you knew you had grown, or you knew you had dealt with that thing to that point of yourself. Tell me that you are so black. It's nothing. Because you know why? I've accepted that I am black. I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm black. I'm comfortable with the fact that I'm chubby. It's something I have told myself. I've accepted myself. You can't drag me down on it. You can't. But for you to get to whatever area you are struggling, for you to get to that place, there has to be a journey that you must be willing to go through. It doesn't happen passively. So self-awareness starts at a particular point. And self-awareness, you must understand it. And I'll share with you certain techniques which you can use to navigate it. But you must understand that self-awareness is a conscious knowledge of your own character. That's where it starts from. It's a conscious, please, I want you to follow me. A conscious knowledge of your own character, your feelings, your motives, and your desire is the foundation of personal growth. For instance, I know there are certain things that I hear or certain things that I see with some persons, for instance, maybe my partner, and I realize that this thing always gets me to this age quickly, or this thing makes me feel this way. But you see, until you get to that point where you know that it's not just always about that person, it's about your own character, your own feelings, your own motives, your own desire, and you begin to pay attention to yourself, how you react to it. Some people might call it triggers, but the truth about it is, if somebody brings this to you and you respond this way, it's not all about what the person has brought, it's also about the reflection of who you are, what is on the inside of you. And so self-awareness is that conscious knowledge of your character and your feeling, how you respond to things, how you see things. And those are part, and our consciousness of those things, those triggers, our consciousness of those reactions or those thought patterns is the foundation of personal growth. Man, know thyself. So once you begin to know, I have this tendency, I do this. And then you begin to say, does this pay me or favor me? How many of us walk in a path? We walk in a part of a particular thought pattern, and we've ever stopped ourselves in the room and said, come, stop this thing. This is not favoring you. This thought pattern is not helping you. Thinking this way is not healthy for me. Acting the way is not healthy. I'm not saying it's easy. I've had my struggles. You will have your struggle. Believe me. But the beginning of it is being conscious of, I know I have this behavior. I know I do this way, or I think this way. Once you're conscious of it, you begin to mold it in the direction that you want. So how do you do that? What are the critical ways you can use to improve these areas or work on these areas? Number one is feedback loop. It's feedback. I know many of us run for feedback. I mean, I work with people personally. I work with people as a professional. I do it as an organization. Most people don't like feedback. But I encourage that you seek feedback. I will use the word constructive feedback from peers, from mentors, from family to gain insight into your personal behaviors. And there's a skill around it. But you see, it's important because we all have blind sides. We don't know fully. We know in parts. And for us to operate in this world, if you continuously operate in that path, apart from you be tunnel vision, you're going to go through a path that you didn't anticipate yourself. Because unfortunately, our life is not defined in absentia. Neither is our life defined as a standalone element. We are defined, like I said earlier on, from the lens of the society, of the world, our roles, our responsibility, our standing. We are defined by all of those things. But there's a lot that we define ourselves. So the first technique is to seek feedback. Feedback, they say, is the food of champions. You have to be comfortable with getting feedback. I'm going to teach you some techniques very soon, but you see, you can't run away from feedback. I know you can't and you won't because you're in this particular meeting. That tells me you want to grow. It's one of the major tools. Number two is reflective practices. You want to reflect. You want to reflect. What led to that point? I said this, she said that. He said that, he said this. How did we get here? Sometimes some of this reflection will take us back in the journey. Some of us, there are certain behaviors that I know is in me. I can see clearly my dad. God bless his soul. Or I see it in my mom. And some of us need to stop and say, this thing is here. Sometimes it's amazing. And yes, but sometimes you know this particular behavior is what led to this, or this particular behavior may lead to that. Because at the end of the day, many of us know, just that most times we don't reflect enough, or sometimes we reflect, that journey reflecting, we'll be growing up like this, but we don't have the strength to move on, or we don't have the capacity or the knowledge bandwidth to hit the real line we ought to. And so there are many stressors, excuse me, all around. Then even that itself just make us gradually be giving up. Gradually we will now come to that folic thought and say that I'm not worth it. Nobody wants it, nobody cares about it. Or we define our life just strictly based on somebody. But we need to reflect and turn it to practice. I'm not saying we need to worry. We need to reflect. The third is personality assessment. There are different personality assessments. MBTI is there, Myers-Briggs is there. So this assessment helps us know ourselves, help us know our weakness, help us know that I don't have threshold for this. I have threshold for that. And some of us in our journey in life, we have to be deliberate about investing in some of these things. Some of us need to go and invest in mentors. Some of us need to go and invest in a coach, because that's part of those are part of the technique that increases your self-awareness. Some of us are blessed with some good friends that you know that what they say to you might not be so exciting, but you know they're telling you the truth. You know that, but that person is saying that there's elements of truth in it. Another critical factor is challenging the status quo. And this is the hard one. See, first and foremost, I need to establish to you that the objective here is progress, not perfection. For the longest time, this was what I put on my DP, and I still grapple with it. The objective is not perfection, and like I said to you, there's no perfect being anywhere. The moment you step into this world, you become imperfection sets in. But the objective is progress. But how do you pass this part of progress? You need to challenge the status quo. And how do you do it? Challenging the status quo is questioning and reassessing established beliefs and norms to foster personal and professional goals. Please, if you're not ready to do this, you're not really ready to grow. You're not ready to walk in that path. You have to challenge the status quo. It is people who have challenged the status quo that are making the impact. It is the people who have challenged the status quo first impact with themselves, amongst themselves. Status quo is how things are. Sometimes it is not the path of change. Every time you can't hold a relationship, every time you see this pattern happening, every time you see this report, it's your way. And sometimes for some of us, we're not just seeing it in ourselves, we are seeing that patterns. We see it in our auntie, pastor. We see it in our uncle, we see it in our grandfather, we see it. We're not ready to challenge the status quo. If you are blessed to have people in your life who are ready to walk that path with you, or they are going on that path, personal journey themselves, you are most blessed. But this is not about anybody, my brothers and sisters. This is about you. That we need to challenge the status quo. You need to be curious, because see, this world, you can't be simple. So maybe some of us, we are complex. You can't take away that we are complex human beings. But in our complexity doesn't mean there's dexterity. And while some of us in our simplicity, we are operating in full. See, there is a balance that we almost go through. The scripture says that you must be wise as the serpent, but gentle as dove. That is balance. And see, you can't afford to say, I'm easygoing, I'm simple. The world doesn't work that way. When I'm dealing with my daughter and certain things, something that's in my mind is that this girl will not always have the protection of her dad and her mom. She will go to the real world where the real world does not care. And she must be prepared for it. Some of us are living in the real world already. You're prepared. You know that, oh God, this is not what I anticipated. And so you must challenge the status. And that journey must be a personal journey. I'll give you 3 easy ways to challenge the status quo. Number 1 is to educate yourself. Educate yourself. See, somebody I've heard some people say, oh, I've done all I can. Somebody came to me, I've done all this, I've done all I could. It didn't work. I said, really, you did? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you consider this? Did you explore this? Are you with me? Did you? And the person, see, you did all you can based on your level of knowledge. You did all you can based on your level of limited knowledge, limited wisdom, limited. So it's critical that in your journey to self-improvement, you need to educate yourself beyond the bandwidth of your limitation. We live in a global world, in our phones, in our hands. I'm here in Canada, Calgary, and you guys are in Nigeria, in some other African countries, and we can have this session together. That's how powerful the world has become. You can see me. You can express me at a level that was inexcusable. Don't stay in your crucible, especially when you have one of the most powerful tools in your hand and say, I don't know, I don't know. But delete that from your lingua and educate yourself. In fact, these days, education is even as free and as cheap as anything. The Holy Book says the time will come that knowledge will fill the whole earth. Yes, people will still be grappling. So you need to educate yourself. The second thing is you need to reflect critically. I think I spend a bit more time in educating yourself, but I would like to move on. You need to educate yourself. You need to go for knowledge. You need to go for knowledge. The truth sets you free. The truth is knowledge. The truth is information. The truth is what vibrates you. The truth. Knowledge, information is like light. When it hits your heart and it hits your soul, that thing that holds you down, that held you down, the chain will be broken, the limitation will be broken. You know that you are beautiful. You know you are handsome. You know you are rich. You know you're a great person, regardless of what your pastor said, regardless of what your friends have said, regardless of what your mom has said. Why? Because you decide to walk in the path of knowing thyself, of path of not knowing thyself. Is if you say you want to swim the world and you are in your swimming pool and that's all you are doing, staying in the familiar, staying in the known, you are just going in circles, you're not going anywhere. But when you move from your comfort zone and plunge yourself into a bigger water, then you will be exploiting the very many vast resources that is available in that new space. It comes with change, it comes with discomfort, it comes with some level of risk. But therein is where you find yourself. And you need to reflect critically. And the third one is you need to seek diverse opinions. In the multitude of counsel, there is safety. In the multitude of counsel, right counsel, there is safety. So you must challenge the status quo. You must challenge it. You must challenge it. Why is this happening? Why does this always happen to me? Why? And some of us must receive the strength to make decisions. For some people, the decision is to break away from some relationships. You will cry, but that's okay. Let me stop there. Then there's what we call grit and resilience. This world is not meant. See, unfortunately, when you look at our fathers, our great grandfathers, I mean, they didn't have all the luxuries that we have. It was a survival mode, and it was only the strong that would survive. Being strong has nothing to do with gender. Being strong has nothing to do with societal class. Being strong, you know, is about survival. And you see, there's a role of grit and resilience. Grit is the passion and perseverance for long-term goals. Resilience is the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Difficulties will happen. When I came to Canada, I was an HR manager in Nigeria. When I came to Canada, I was doing manual jobs. I was working in the warehouse. There's almost no job I've not done. If I was waiting and saying, oh, I did this, who I am, this, that, oh God. There was nothing I could not do. Why? Because you see, when life changes, you have to change with it. I'm also in another phase, another season of my life where every day I'm asking questions and I'm inquiring and I'm positioning. You know why? Because life requires us to be nimble, to change, to be strong, to have grit. But it has to be for the long haul. So as you're journeying, you must know you must be strong, you must learn to persevere. And it starts with a mindset. There's what we call the growth mindset, the growth mindset, the growth mindset, the growth mindset. The growth mindset is that mindset that tells you can be anything if you put your heart into it. The growth mindset is the mindset that does not run away from challenges. Dude, many of us run away from challenges, and I can understand it. But you see, this world is built around challenges. Challenges, people that get rich and people that solve challenges. People that have happy homes, happy relationships, that people that solve challenges don't run away from challenges. That's the truth because of the complexities of existence itself. But when you have the growth mindset, you embrace challenges as an opportunity to learn and to grow. You see mistakes as a learning point. I made this mistake, I made this error, I went through this, but you see, it's a learning point. So you must have grit. In between all of this, there's something I want to take a moment to emphasize to you, is what we call support network. Because you can't do life alone. It's nothing like that. And due to the few people, whatever that dynamics work for you, but you must have what we call a support network, a support system. And you can't, he that must have a friend or showing friends is himself friendly. And as you grow up, you know that there are certain metrics that really defines friends that stay. If your friendship is based on material things, they have this, they have that, you are deceiving yourself. There are no deeper bonds and deeper investments in certain relationships. You know they ain't going to last anywhere. And he that must have a friend must show himself friendly. It's a principle. And for you to have a friend, for you to develop those networks, you can't be a receiver always. You have to learn to give. You have to learn to position. You have to learn to invest in those relationships. You have to learn to build yourself, that company of people that you can fall back to, or you can talk to find strength, to find courage to navigate life. Support system and structure is very important. Thank God for Assad. This is a form of support network because they are bringing this kind of message to you, because they are there when you're going through stops. You have to show up, but you see, you still have to show up. There are days that you have to move away from your own skin of me. Nobody called me. Nobody did this. And freaking pick the call and call phone and call somebody. And be that person yourself for rainy days ahead. They say your network determines your net worth. And your network does not grow until you make deliberate investment in place of value. You have to maintain a support network. And for some of us, that should be the next agenda in your next phase. When you begin to identify and build worthy relationship and invest in those relationships. It's very critical. You need a growth mindset. You need to set long-term goals. You need to maintain a solid network. That is very important as you journey towards self-discovery. Those are very important. Something I took time to just talk about, prepare, and something I'd like to spend a bit more time is, how do we see failure? What is failure to many of us? Unfortunately, because of their various cultural dimensions, failure means different things to different people. You must realize the cultural dimensions that we interpret failure. Because some of us grow in an environment where when we fail our test, when we fail something, we are seen as a failure. Or when we are not accepted on the particular level or the particular thing, we are seen as a failure. But as you grow in life, you must rethink failure. I have failed before. Failure is, you have to see failure. Failure is a sign that we are challenging ourselves and expanding our capability. If you do nothing, you won't fail. Don't you realize that? You can't fail an exams you didn't write. You can't. So every time you fail, the critical thing is understand that you are expanding your capabilities. That's what you're trying. As passionate as I am about HR, I wrote an HR exams in this country and I failed. But that's past story, because every professional exam that there is to write at the highest level in HR, I went ahead and wrote all of it and I passed. But I failed before as an adult, not university, as an adult here a few years ago. So you have to rethink failure. Failure is that you're trying. right? And you must see failure as a learning opportunity. That's why when you see it as a learning opportunity, somebody says you don't fail. You either win or you learn. You either win or you learn. And what are you learning? You are learning how not to do it. If you've been in a past relationship and it failed, you are getting into another one. So that's some of the things some of us need to. If you're getting into another one, be prepared. Capture your learning, revisit your learning, what you learned, what you saw, so that when you go into a new one, you know how not to do it. But at the same time, you're not rigid. So I've known people, people who have failed in something, one relationship, and they go into another one. They say, like, nobody will do this for me. And rightfully say they are protecting their heart. But you see, when you say you're protecting your heart in a relationship that is supposed to be heart-based, except the partnership that is strictly based on certain clear agreements and commitment, you can't live to the fullness of it. You can't say because my heart has a broken before I'll not give it to somebody. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. You can, but you live suboptimally. The critical thing is to know thyself and have a clear idea of the why and the who to help you navigate things. So you have to rethink failure. You failed an exam. Oh, so what? So what? For my life, I wanted to be a lawyer. And all the jam I did, the jam did not allow me to jam, not allow me to do law. And I went to do linguistics. But maybe that was imprinted somewhere in my heart. And my wife is a lawyer. She's a high-level lawyer at whatever level you want to call it. And when I said, oh, I love this lady, it wasn't because she was a lawyer. It was because I love the lady. But something in me was gravitating towards that. That's unfortunate or interesting, how the human being, how we work. That's why it's important we check ourselves. We check our thoughts, we check the things, the good, the bad, because they are the things that lead us. They are the things we gravitate towards. If somewhere in your heart, there's a man in the holy books, his name was Job. So many things happened to him, and he went through so many processes. And at the end of the day, God helped him and he became rich. But you see, when certain calamities happened to him, you know what he said? He said, the things which I greatly fear has befallen me. So my sisters and my dear brothers, it's critical you check your fears, the things that you fear. Every one of us have fears. But you see, fear can be a tool. Fear can be, what is that thing? Sometimes you need to analytically reflect about it. What is this thing I'm fearing? And let it sit there and have clear conversations. Or look at it and dissect it and give it perspective. That's why I talked about knowledge, seeking knowledge. Don't stay in your corner and say, this is it, this is the end. This is not the end. People are failing every day, and yet they are winning. Why? Because of analytical reflection. And some of us need to understand that we need to we need to have what we call detached concern. You need to learn to emotionally detach from failure and assess it objectively. I know to an extent I've done that, and I'm still doing that. When you failed in one area, you need to know that it's not all about you. Number one, you need to also know that it's because you are trying, that's why you failed. You also need to know that there's something to learn here. Some of us need to learn, some of us need to unlearn, some of us need to heal. But it's not pushing it to the future. Because as I always say, who guaranteed you of the future? Nobody. And see, the future is even like a mirage. I can remember these guys have been speaking to me for a long while, and they talked about today. But today is here already. Today, that same day is here, it's arrived. So it's just important that as we are journeying through this failure, which is an emblem. I mean, the greatest of us all, greatest people have failed. James LeBron talked about it. Michael Jordan talked about it. How many times has even our former president here tried and he failed before he became president? How many times has Trump? See, sometimes we need to see that it's not about failing. It's about failing and rising again as we discover us, as we journey through this path. But you must go through that path of continuous improvement. I said it's not always easy. That's one of the reasons why I talked about having that support, because you must have people who are able to bash you and tell you to rise up. And they are there holding you as you rise up. So it's critical as we are going through all of this that we plan, that we do, that we check, that we act. You must act, you must act, you must act. But act in the right direction. Failure is not final. It's not final. Success is a journey. As I begin to round up this particular conversation, it's important that I emphasize feedback as a key element of your growth. I know that a lot of us run through it, but you see, you must see this as a mechanism, as a system, as a structure that is important for your growth, right? Some of us need to go and request for feedback. There's 5 hours of feedback. Request for feedback. Receive the feedback. Reflect on the feedback. Respond to the feedback and resolve the feedback. We need to do that. And you see, what I find as a professional, what I find interesting is that many of us, if our boss gives us feedback, we take it seriously. How many of us, will your boss give you a feedback about your job related and you don't take it seriously? Most times we take it seriously. But other aspect of our life, we don't take feedback seriously. In fact, we don't ask for feedback. But in fact, we flip all the feedback. Many of us do that because we take certain things for granted. They give us feedback about our health, me included. We take it for granted. They give us feedback about our relationships or how certain things impact certain things. We commonize it. We don't take it seriously. Meanwhile, you don't grow until you receive feedback. I decided to talk about this again because some of us are struggling with it. And it's the food of champions. If you must discover yourself, you must know that the wholesome discovery, a big part of it, is getting feedback or seeing the blind spots. We have blind spots. Some of us, we sulk at certain things. We do certain things and you don't realizing it. But people can tell you, you do this thing. You need to pay attention. You need to learn to accept feedback, to receive feedback. And for some of it, you need to detach yourself emotionally and act. Not all feedback is good. Believe me, I'm not saying it's easy. But it is being learned over and over as people who grow, people who truly discover themselves. They know that that's part of it and they don't run away from it. The second to the last critical thing I'll talk about is building authentic relationships. Relationships about give and take is how you grow your relationship that you find it. There's no grammar to it. But we need to learn to build authentic relationships. And sometimes to build authentic relationships, please listen to this carefully. Some of us need to do away with certain people in our life. That's a fact. Because they're not going anywhere. And if you are going with people that are not going anywhere, there's a chance that you're not going anywhere. Second part is some of us need to really take time to work on our current relationships. Don't run away because the relationship is hard. Because you're not guaranteed of the next person you're going to meet. And if you choose to run away, if the issue is with you, the cycle continues. That's why it's important that you do objective evaluation, right? Relationships are foundational to personal identity. They provide a space where one can be your true self and gain insights into your character. It is daring. I hear something that I need to take time to work on myself. Like there's nothing like that. You work on yourself in context. Because you don't work on yourself in isolation. You might journey that path or path this thing, but the true definition and reflection of yourself as worked on is in your relationship. You feel you are better, can be better in your head, but what you manifest is what defines. I don't know if you get that. So if you say, I took some time to work on myself, bless your heart for that. But you see, the true manifestation is still in how you engage, how you process things. And you can't build authentic relationship without these 3 elements. Number 1 is vulnerability. You must share your thoughts, your true thoughts and feelings, admitting weaknesses and uncertainties. The second is consistency. You have to be consistent in your actions and your words that builds trust and deeper connection. And the third is active engagement. You can't build genuine, authentic relationship when you don't engage actively. I say that to you again. Some of us really want to protect our hearts or we don't want trouble, so we go on our own. That's okay. The more you do that, the more you find that you're on the lonely path. So for you to really build authentic relationship, active engagement is important. You have to show genuine. You have to stop being selfish, or at least move your selfish thermometer up a little. You have to go out of your head and sometimes let it be about the other people. Show genuine interest in their lives, the things that they show interest in. In building authentic relationships, You are building an authentic life. See, please. And somebody is asking, well, but people eventually hurt me, or he eventually doesn't work. That's why I talked a lot about reflection. Talked a lot about certain critical things you need to do. And I also talked about the fact that there's no perfect anywhere. We make perfect that which is in our path. Can I say that again? We make perfect that which is in our path. We progress with that which is in our path. Because even you are not perfect. Even me, I'm not perfect. But by solid understanding, by iterating, by being vulnerable, being consistent, we are in that path of growth. And I'm going to round off with this. In your path of self-discovery, my dear brothers and sisters, you must keep in mind that it's a lifelong process. It's a lifelong learning. It's not a one-time affair. You have to be committed. You have to be a student of life. You have to learn to unlearn things and be curious. How many of you here, how many of us here, you've made certain decisions in the past and you were so sure that that was the thing to do and you did it and it worked out well? I know many of us because you were sure and you did it and it worked out great. But how many of us have made certain decisions? You were so sure this is the right thing to do. You were sure in your heart and your spirit. You did it. It was the wrong decision. So by now you should have known that your conviction is not a guarantee of rightness or wrongness. Let me say that again. Your conviction about a thing is not a guarantee. How many times that you have blamed somebody? Literally, you blamed somebody for something. And when you did further investigation, you realize, the fault was mine. That should tell us that we are fallible as human beings. So what should be our disposition? Our disposition should be a disposition of curiosity, of less judgment, of curiosity, of withholding or holding down ourselves, that mouth that we have that want to quickly say, is that person, you did this, or you want to quickly make conclusions. Let your convictions be the beginning of your curiosity by asking questions. Can I say that again? By asking questions, not jumping into conclusions. By asking questions, asking the right questions. You have to be a lifelong learner. Lifelong learning is an ongoing, voluntary, self-motivated process of pursuit of knowledge. You have to embrace learning. You have to be adaptable. You have to be new. Let me give you a secret. Once you make a conclusion about something, a weakness you have, an area you have, nobody can judge you about it. Nobody can even get you about it. If you know that I get this character, or this something that I know that is me. You've not seen people that they know say, I'm this. And once they come to that place of agreeing that it's a different thing if it's right or wrong, I'm not going to that. But once they come to that place that this is me and is working for them and are convinced about it, you can't attack them on that again. That's self-discovery. The only thing is, one question was critically asked, is this serving me or not? Is this my worry spirit serving me or not? Is this my judgmental spirit serving me or not? Is this my condemning spirit serving me or not? Every time you're condemning yourself, you're not good enough, you're not fine enough, you're not competent. Is this serving you or not? Is this my thought of always comparing myself with other people, always being competitive? Is this serving me or not? Please don't get me wrong. Some of these things might serve you, and if it's serving you, good for you. Some people would only live and they survive and exist by competition, and they are doing it strategically. It's serving them. So what you must ask per time, because I've not come to talk to you about rightness or wrongness here. I've come to talk to you about balance. I'm talking to you about the journey of self-discovery. Because when you know yourself, when you discover yourself, you have a peace. When you know yourself, when you discover yourself, you are ready to stay with the benefits and the consequence. And you have thought about it very clearly. That's why no matter what you do, some people, the best of what they're going to be is to be thieves. And they master that process very well. They discover they are good at it. And they don't care about any other thing. And you see, in life, you must come to that point where you must be able to identify what is critical, what is important, what you should let go, what is serving you, what thought is not serving you, what gives you that peace at night, and what makes your world a better place. And there's only a way to do that, is to be a lifelong learner, is to be nimble and adaptable, is to be broken and remodeled, not by man. Don't do it with man, but by the Almighty. Whoever He is to you, whoever you have a relationship with, is been checked over and over. There's a higher being that controls. There's a higher being that sets the pace, that enables and empowers. Some of us, at the end of the day, is the one that helps us to keep going and helps us to still believe that there is hope. I'll end up with this, my dear brothers and sisters. There is hope. There's hope for you. The fact that you're listening, the fact that you're here, the fact that you're with me here, means there's somewhere you're going to. It means that you're beautiful. It means that you're handsome. It means that you're rich, you're blessed. It means that everything you so desire is yours. And it means that no matter the mistakes you've made in the past, they are in the past. They are in the tomb. What you have right now is the present. That's why they call it present. You might not be able to go back and right the wrongs you've done. But from today, you can begin. From today, your self-journey, to begin to embrace yourself, to discover yourself, to appreciate yourself, to make hard decisions. There's no king that doesn't make hard decisions. Some of you know you are kings. Some of you know you are powerful, but you know certain things are not helping you. So some of us need to know that here in our journey to self-discovery, it's not everybody that is meant to follow us to the palace. It's not everybody that should grow with you. 20 friends, they say, will not be together for 20 years. The reality. But today, you need to take hold of your life. You need to take hold, make decisions. And I pray and I believe that as you do this, as you journey this path, you'll be closer to who you are designed to be. Your life will be full of beauty and grace. There won't be condemnation in your heart and in your soul. You will navigate your faces with grace. Beautiful people will be attracted to you. The ones that are attracted to you, you have the tenacity and the grace to keep them, to nurture them. And every heart here that is broken will be healed, right? And you still value your truth. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think I've come to the end of my talk.
Thank you so much, sir. That was very enlightening, and I can't even lie. I'm going to say that this is one of the best trainings I've had this year, and I'm really glad that we invited you, Coach Imole. And it's been a wonderful ride. I'm sure many people will testify to the fact that they have heard a lot and they have so much more to take back home today. And as a result of that, I'm sure some people will have questions. So I'd like to call on my colleague, Vanessa, as she comes to handle the question and answer session. So Vanessa, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. We're super excited to have you join us. Thank you so much, Mr. Imole. That was amazing. Like, my notepad is actually filled to the brim. Thank you so much. So first off, I'll be reading some of the questions that we got from the sign-up form. And this one is coming from someone who says, how can a shy but intelligent person, become a good public speaker? How
I like that.
Become a good public speaker?
They can become a good public speaker because they can become anything they choose to be. So my funny way of looking at this is always ask that question: who told you you're shy? That person, who told you you're shy? Because sometimes being shy, of course, the element of our upbringing, the element of our perception and all of that. But who told you you're shy? So start by asking that question, right? And your intelligence, let's tie it to purpose. Because your intelligence means nothing if it's not adding value. So if your purpose is clear that as an individual, I want to add value, I want to make the world a better place. This intelligence God has given me, I want to use it for something. Then there's purpose. And once the purpose of a thing is known, then you begin to navigate the path of dealing with your shyness. So I can easily just recommend that you go and do this, do that. No, the first thing is you need to ask yourself, who told you you're shy? Right? Was it your friends? Or did you tell yourself that I'm shy? Once you deal with that mental block, that mental perception, because sometimes there's what we call reframing in psychology. You need to reframe things. You might not be shy. You just might be somebody that doesn't really like talking in public. or you just with somebody that you feel like to just amongst your friends, because I've seen a lot of shy people when they get amongst their goals, they're not shy. I mean, not seen people like that. With the idea we are girlfriends, they talk, they flow, they have energy. It's just that they're a bit uncomfortable in a certain space. So you need to question it from that angle. And then the other parties, once you question it from that angle and start reframing it, then the other parties begin to go for knowledge. There's so many videos on YouTube that talks about how to be a public speaker. Join Toastmasters. Right? Deliberately go and make a friend that talks very well and talks often. Hang out with them. I know somebody was shy, who used to be shy. 6 weeks is hanging with a particular person. The shyness went away. Start hanging out, going to certain places because we are animals, we're social animals, right? There's certain things that rub us off. You understand? So the critical thing is question that belief or that thought, reframe it, and go for information, go for knowledge, go for training. Right? And the more you do that, the more you get better. And please, I want to encourage that person, please start. Because in 4 years, you'll still say the same thing if you don't start today. And you to be an excuse. That wisdom you have will be dissipated. Right? So start today. Make errors. In fact, start with your phone. Start with your phone. Record on your phone. Say everything you want to say. You don't need to be in front of the TV station. And say everything you want to say on your phone. Send it to your friends. Send it to you to evaluate for you. And keep doing it. Okay? I hope that helps somebody.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Yes, start. Okay, you're welcome.
So, the person who asked the question, some questions from the chat box. This one is coming from Pay. He said, how do I know that such feedback is constructive and not criticizing in nature? Remember the part where you talked about us asking, getting constructive feedback from our friends and mentors. So he's asking, how do I know that such feedback is constructive and not criticizing in nature?
That's a good question. And that's why when I was talking, I said, one of the things I said, you don't make your friends, you discover your friends. Okay? And the discovery is about value. Have you not seen some very extreme people that they hang out together, they are friends, ride or die friends? And when I say extreme, they do weird things. For instance, some of them are call girls, call to the call girls, or boys that are doing very dirty things. But they have friends that are ride or die friends. They didn't just make those friends because they hang out with them in a club or something. They discovered, Tola is my friend, Martha is my friend. Right? So before you expose yourself to certain people in asking for feedback, it's critical that you see how vested they are in you, in your path. Did you hear that? It's not by feelings or emotions. You see their energy towards you, right? It's critical. Then number two, it's critical you know there are not people that is competing against you, competing with you. Are you getting it? If you have a friend that's competing, every time you buy wig, she wants to buy that same wig. By force. Every time you meet one boy, she wants to meet that same boy. Every time they're always competing with you. Not healthy. I'm not saying inspirational. There are friends that when you do a course, you introduce that course to them, they want to do it. They're inspired by positive. You take an extra year to do an MBA, they're inspired by you. It's no mistaking it. It's being inspired by you is not the same as competing with you. Competing with you is wondering you can't. What in fact? Why are you getting that? I'm not getting it. How can you have that and me I don't have that? That's competition. Or competition also is like I must know what you get or what you have to make myself feel good. It's a human nature. So it's critical that those people are vested in you. They're not competing with you. Complement each other. You've seen the energy, you've seen the passion, you've seen them talk about you, you've seen the extent they've gone. You see, and they're also in a journey themselves. They're objective people. You know those friends that when you tell you did something, they'll care for you, but they will lash you where out of love. They'll tell you the truth. Those are the kind of people you talk. Okay, so that you can differentiate between criticism and I get what I'm saying. It's important. You must be able to define that intelligently, not emotionally. Does that answer your question?
All right, thank you so much. I hope Pei got answers to his questions. And so I'm going to ask you one personal question, sir. So What do you think about the Chinese Ikagi practice in
Yeah,
relation to self-discovery? Do you think it's actually helpful?
good question. Who asked that question?
That's a
Ah,
personal question.
okay. Um, I'm typing it because I want to speak from a place of knowledge, and I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen it on different, and I've and and it looks like a framework. Right? Ikigai is a Chinese methodology. It's a concept of self-discovery. And when I was preparing for this session, I saw it, but I didn't want to use it as my own teaching methodology. But there are fantastic things about Ikigai. Okay, for instance, it talks about holistic approach. It talks about promote self-reflection, which is one of the major things we've talked about here. You need to reflect, you need to think. It encourages personal growth. Spend a lot of time talking about that. It fosters mindfulness, right? And talks about certain exercise. So the thing is about it is that at a level, that's still a good thing before I discount it. And I'm not discounting it. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not discounting it. They talked about adapting and evolving. They talked about that. It was adapt, learn, learn. The only some disadvantage to it is that there's an oversimplification about it, right? And it's a Western interpretation. The Western interpretation, it oversimplifies complex process of finding one life's purpose. Finding our life purpose, either at the discovery or at an expression point, is not that simple because we are complex, right? Because our uncle influenced it. Our teacher, that our primary school teacher, has something. Our dad and our mom, right? It's very hard for us to just come and burst out and say, hey, this is me. And even in the Western world where I live, it's still struggle for certain things. When you decide to declare certain things, you still go through. Do you understand? So oversimplification of finding our purpose is not the reality of you getting it. Then it also has cultural misinterpretation, right? The version that is popular captures its authentic Japanese meaning. You understand? And it talks about finding joy in daily life rather than life grand purpose. You can't find joy in daily life. There are pressures, there are stressors. You understand? That you must deal with. It's not a happy, jolly fellow every time you're not thinking about. You're thinking about electricity that went away. And you're thinking about the traffic you go through. You're struggling with certain things. Those are kind of simplified certain things, right? But then there's a potential for overthinking. The intensive reflection part of Ikigai, where you have to do yoga, do all the thinking, do all those. Sometimes, context might not make it so realistic for you. So it's a good framework. At least a significant amount of things I thought. Some of it the Japanese people have thought it, right? But see, at the end of the day, man, know thyself. Your journey to learning, your journey to self-discovery, it's good to experience all these things, but in a balanced way, right? Pick what you want to pick from it. You understand? The same way somebody who picks certain things from the Quran or from Buddhism, right? And it will be a liberation for them. Same way somebody will pick life from the Bible. Because these are ancient scripts that inspire, they are words of wisdom. I get what I'm saying. I need to liberate them. They'll find meaning in it. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I think I have another question from Pei again. So he said he has a friend who never paid back loan issued to him over time, and he has oftentimes told this friend that it's ideal to pay loan as at when you agree to pay them, but he's not yielding. So he's asking how is he going to help such a person?
Interesting. As I grow older, one of the things I realized is that it's not everybody that wants help. And it's not everybody we can help. Question is, the guy doesn't want to pay loan. Who told you he needs help? Right? If he doesn't come to that place of reality that he needs help, then it's really difficult for you to help him. He gets in it. So you must learn that it's not everybody that needs help. It's not everybody that can be helped. I want to establish that very clearly. Some people don't need help. And you can't help some people. However, there are certain people you can help. The guy doesn't pay loan. Why? Is it that he doesn't have the money? Or he borrows money that he knows he can't pay? Right? Are you getting this? So start, if you truly want to help, start with asking questions and asking clarifying questions. Can I say that again? Start with asking open-ended clarifying questions, right? Because when you begin by asking those questions and you see those people interested in responding to questions, then you have where to journey. You have a path to go with them. Then you figure it out. I get 100%. But please know that it's not everybody that needs help. Some people, it suits them to do bad things. Don't get it wrong. It's joy for them. You understand? To do certain things. Some people, there's nothing you can do. It's just human nature. The way some people find it interesting to hurt other people subconsciously. You know that. Some people find it to rob. They have, but they want to take what is yours over and over. He has, but he feels this he feels this pullback. Yes, I have to scroll down. Okay. So he has, but he feels this pullback when it comes to pay. Wow, very correct. Seems he doesn't really want to, but I will do more questioning to understand. That's it, my brother. It's question to understand. As if he has, he doesn't want to pay. He feels a pullback. It's just, it can be him. You've not seen greedy people. Or don't you see that sometimes even we behave in some way and like, oh, why did I need to do, did I even need to say that? So for your journey of asking questions, you have clarification. And it's now tell you, yeah, this guy needs help. I can leave this person be cool. Then there are that dimension. So everybody goes through two kinds of discipline: the discipline of pain or the discipline of regrets. Do you get that? Every one of us. So can go through the discipline of pain and stop that behavior, or the discipline of the regrets. And the regrets might be losing you as a friend. The regrets might be getting into trouble with the law. Does that make sense to you? But we can't fix everything with everything. The best we can do is engage and ask questions. Okay.
All right, thank you so much, sir. That was really, really insightful. It was really enlightening. Thank you so much. And so with that, we've come to the end of the Q&A session. So I'll be handing over to the host, Favor, for the other part of the meeting. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Vanessa. Thank you so much, Coach Imole, for that enlightening session. And I hope everyone has had their questions answered. So we will have the fun segment of the program right now. We would be having the breakout room sessions. So what that means is that this is the main session. The breakout rooms are a smaller space where you get to discuss all that the speaker has spoken about, get to know one another, if possible, share some stories, or maybe something you struggled with when it comes to personal identity, your journey of personal identity. So, yes, and some people are asking if this meeting will be streamed on YouTube. Yes, it will. It's on YouTube, so maybe we can drop the link of our YouTube channel before the end of the session. Yeah, so while everyone moves to the breakout rooms, remember that at the end of the breakout rooms, you would have to pick a representative who would summarize all that has been discussed there. Thank you very much.
Sorry, Favor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, sorry. Before we go to the breakout rooms, I don't have to be in this session, right? My work is done for today.
Yes, yes, actually, yes, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So, I mean, I want to say thank you to everyone for, taking your time. You can share my email or my LinkedIn. You can send my LinkedIn to them, and please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a bit more active on LinkedIn. Yeah, Trevor, I'm just dropping it for you. I'm a bit more active on LinkedIn, but please put hi, coach. I met you from, or I listened, so I have some context so that I can accept. I have so many requests that I'm not able to get all of it, but just put a little note, and I would love to connect with any one of you if you have any questions that I'm able to answer. And I wish you the best in your journey. Please keep in mind that you are the best of the best. Let nobody take that away from you. Okay. So thank you guys for having me. Please enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So the rooms are open now. Everyone can join in.